When you think about extracurricular activities, there's always a cost involved. And sometimes people kind of shy away from the cost of scouting. But I know for us, the dollars that we've spent actually come out to be quite a bit less than any other activity we've participated in. And there's going to be a cost when you do anything of value. I like the fact that scouting costs some investment, that it is an investment in our children. I like it when my boys have to earn some money to go to camp or to go on a backpacking trip or something. That's great for those boys to learn that they have to earn something in order to participate something. So I think that parents should not worry so much about how much scouting costs, because it is an investment and what you get back for your money is incredible. The dividends are great.
And as I think about the cost, I think about the outcome of the money that you're investing. For example, our son, over the course of the last few years, for his birthday, he's received different type of camping gear. A couple of years ago, he got a backpack, and then he got a sleeping bag. Well, this year, when he turned 12, he got a tent. And that little guy was so excited about getting that tent that he set it up in the front room and slept in it that night. Okay, that is a financial investment that we've made in that young man. Now, the outcome of that, over the course of the next few months and years, that young man will spend a significant amount of time doing very hard things. He will go on 50-mile backpacking trips. He will hike to mountain peaks. He will find himself in situations that are so difficult. When he comes against other difficult situations, he will look back at those experiences and he will think to himself, I can make it now because I made it then. So when I think about the cost, I think about that kind of an outcome and the investment that we're making in a young person.
Hi, we're Wayne and Roma Bishop, longtime Scouters from Pleasanton, California. We're sitting here today under our Philmont picture since none of us are actually able to be there. And with our finance tablecloth on our table, and we're going to share with you today some information and ideas about handling unit finances.
Isn't it ironic? As members of a church that teaches self-reliance and work, when it came to scouting, we lived on the dole. The church pretty much paid for everything in scouting, except for maybe the annual scout camp. And even there, we often had a chili cook-off or a similar fundraiser to get the ward to help out. But all that changed on January 1st, 2020. Now it's time to step up and pay for what we've been getting for free. So why do we need money? Where do we get it? And how do we manage it? While some say that the best things in life are free, in reality, pretty much everything we do in this world costs money, and scouting is no exception. I mentioned scout camp, but what about insurance, the camping gear, the uniforms we wear, the badges we award, the campgrounds we use, the membership fees, the special activities or admission price, transportation, and so forth. Some things are up to the individual, such as the uniform and the personal camping gear, but other things need to be funded by the scouting unit. This page on the Capital Area Council website is typical of local resources and can be helpful as you consider unit financing.
Just as in running a frugal household, your troop needs a realistic budget, a plan for receiving and spending its money. This budget should be tied directly to your annual plan and show in dollars what the unit has planned for the year. I loved the way the Scoutmaster and Senior Patrol Leader of our new troop ran a brainstorming session at our troop's very first meeting. They asked what activities the boys wanted to do during the year. Every idea was welcome. The ideas were then evaluated to determine the cost and practicality. Eventually, skydiving was eliminated because it wasn't allowed by BSA. And reluctantly, scuba diving in Mexico was deemed to be too expensive. The Patrol Leaders Council, or PLC, worked with the Scoutmaster and the troop committee. They developed the budget based on what the PLC had planned for the year. The more elaborate the plans, the bigger the budget needed to be. So you have to make sure that they are consistent. All of the links that we will reference today are included in your workbook materials. You will find this podcast link from 2017 is a good resource for planning a budget. Or this blog from Brian on Scouting can also be helpful. In addition to the activity expenses, don't forget your annual charter and registration fees, money for advancement and recognition items, troop camping and other gear, and an emergency contingency fund. Here is one link to an idea for a budget worksheet and some other information on developing a budget. If you do use this spreadsheet, make sure you put in the current amounts for registration and unit chartering fees.
With the budget in hand, the unit next needs to figure out how to raise the needed money. We are out from under many of the fundraising restrictions we had when part of the church program. So maybe you'll want to join in on some of the proven money-raising methods BSA offers, including popcorn sales. Or you may find other successful ways to earn money in your community. Some troops have found success in putting up and taking down flags in people's yards on patriotic holidays for an annual fee. In our area, one council has funded much of their operation with an annual Christmas tree lot. We also have a local troop who will pick up your old Christmas tree and recycle it for a suggested donation. Greenery sales during the holidays has also been an effective fundraiser for some units. Just Google Scout fundraising ideas for a long list. From the beginning, Scouts have always paid dues. In the early days, they paid a small amount, a nickel or a dime, each time they met. Most units today charge an annual fee at rechartering time that covers the year. And don't forget that we have an obligation to help support the work of the local council through their annual Friends of Scouting drive. None of the registration fee we pay goes to help the local council's budget. It supports the council service center, the annual maintenance of the camps and other properties, the council's share of the insurance premiums, and the professional scouters who direct day-to-day operations. We have an obligation to pay for what we receive.
If yours is a new troop, you will first need to get an EIN, an employer identification number, for nonprofit groups in order for a bank to authorize a checking account. Here is a link for applying for an EIN. Many councils and others have provided instructions for completing the EIN and the procedure for getting a checking account, such as this one.
You need a treasurer on the troop committee who manages the checking account and disperses the funds. Always apply best practices of governance and control to avoid any chance of impropriety. A requisition or request for funds signed by the requester and accompanied with receipts for the expenses incurred, plus 2 signatures on the check, protect the treasurer. The distribution should also be assigned to a unit activity or a planned expense. A regular audit by another member of the committee is also a good practice. All of these procedures are well documented and can be found using your browser. Money is a tool that helps make scouting happen in the lives of our youth, but it shouldn't be the primary objective or concern of your scouting unit. If that takes priority over other things, you probably need to reassess your program and make more realistic plans. And don't forget that a scout is thrifty.
We hope this information is helpful as you now move forward in organizing your new units. If you have any questions, you can message us on the chat board, or your local district executive can be very helpful. Your unit commissioner is also a great resource. And now, some exciting news that Amy Tadlock will tell us about.